"Human, what have you done to me?" The alien girl can't resist any longer. The station called Astronode floated in silent orbit between three star systems. It was a place built for neutrality, where no species held power over another. Its halls were smooth and white, shaped to calm minds and prevent conflict. Every sound was measured. Every light was controlled. For most species, the station felt safe. For Lurie, it did not. She stood behind a transparent observation wall, her long fingers resting against the cool surface. Her species, the Kyrathi, were known across the galaxy for their mental discipline. They felt emotions, but only in small, controlled amounts. Anything more was considered dangerous. And yet, standing only a few meters away on the other side of the wall was a being who made her control weaken. A human. He sat alone at a small table, reading from a flat screen. His posture was relaxed, almost careless. One arm rested on the table, the other held the device. His breathing was slow and steady. He looked harmless. That was the problem. Lurie adjusted the thin band around her temple. The band was a mental stabilizer, standard equipment for any Kyrathi working near unpredictable species. It should have kept her thoughts clear and her emotions quiet. It was failing. "Subject appears calm," reported a voice behind her. Lurie did not turn. "Humans always appear calm," she replied. "That means nothing." The voice belonged to Observer Kale, her superior. "You requested this assignment, Lurie. Are you experiencing difficulty?" She hesitated. Kyrathi did not lie easily, but admitting weakness was worse. "I am experiencing anomalies," she said carefully. Kale stepped closer, his reflection visible in the glass. "Explain." Lurie focused her gaze on the human again. His face showed no signs of threat, no aggression, no dominance display. He simply existed. "That is the anomaly," she said. "He is doing nothing." Kale frowned. "Doing nothing is not an action. It is for humans." Humanity was new to the galactic stage. They had arrived without warning, broadcasting a simple message into deep space. "Hello, we are here, no threats." No demands, no displays of power. At first, the older species had ignored them. Then the reports began. Crews exposed to humans for extended periods showed unusual behavior, increased creativity, emotional shifts, questioning of long-held beliefs. In rare cases, individuals had abandoned their rigid social roles entirely. No mind control was detected, no chemical influence, no technology involved. The humans simply talked. That terrified the galaxy. So the coalition classified humans as class-passive cognito-hazards. Dangerous not because of what they did, but because of what others did to themselves around them. Lurie had laughed when she first read the report. Now she wasn't laughing. The door to the observation room slid open, and Lurie stepped inside the controlled environment. The air shifted slightly to match her species' needs. Her heart beat faster than regulation allowed. The human looked up. He smiled. It was a small thing, a simple movement of facial muscles, but Lurie felt it like a ripple through her thoughts. "Hi," the human said, one word. Her stabilizer hummed softly, struggling to compensate. She reminded herself of protocol. Humans were social, polite. They used simple sounds to build trust. "I am Analyst Lurie," she said. "I am assigned to observe you." "That's fair," he replied. "I'm Daniel." He didn't bow. Didn't show submission. Didn't attempt dominance. He treated her as an equal. That was mistake number one. "You are aware of the restrictions placed upon your species?" Lurie asked. Daniel nodded. "Yeah, no unsupervised interaction, no emotional influence. No whatever that last one was. No prolonged eye contact," she said quickly. "Oh," he looked away immediately. "Sorry." The effect should have faded. It did not. Lurie felt something tighten inside her chest, an unfamiliar sensation, not fear, not anger, disappointment. She didn't understand why. The first hour passed without incident. Daniel answered questions calmly. He spoke about Earth, about music, about how humans enjoyed stories because they liked seeing the world through someone else's eyes. That sounds inefficient, Lurie said. Probably, Daniel agreed, but it feels meaningful. That word again, meaning. Kyrathi language had no direct translation for it. As the second hour began, Lurie noticed her questions changing. They became less structured, less professional. "Why did you leave your home world?" she asked. Daniel thought for a moment. "Curiosity, I guess, and hope." "Hope for what?" He smiled again. "That we wouldn't be alone." Lurie felt her stabilizer spike. She ended the session early. That night, Lurie did not enter meditation. Instead, she replayed the recordings. She analyzed Daniel's tone, his pauses, his expressions. There was no hidden pattern, no signal embedded in his words. Yet every time he spoke, she felt drawn in, as if her mind leaned toward his presence. "This is unacceptable," she whispered. She increased her stabilizer output and reviewed the data again. Nothing changed. On the third day, Lurie entered the room already tense. Daniel noticed immediately. "You okay?" he asked. "I am functioning within acceptable parameters," she said. "Right," he replied gently. "That sounds like a no." She froze. No one had ever questioned her internal state so directly. "You are not authorized to assess me," she said. "I know," Daniel replied. "I wasn't assessing. Just noticing." That word again, her control slipped. "Stop," she said sharply. Daniel raised his hand slightly. "Okay, I'll stop." But it was already too late. The damage was done. Later, alone in her quarters, Lurie stared at her reflection. Her pupils were slightly wider than normal, her breathing uneven. She removed the stabilizer. Instantly, the world felt louder, brighter, heavier. Her thoughts raced, but not in panic, in possibility. She remembered Daniel's words: hope, meaning. "Human," she whispered, though he was nowhere near. "What have you done to me?" The answer came unbidden. "Nothing." And somehow that frightened her more than any weapon ever could. Lurie did not sleep. Kyrathi did not need much rest, but this was different. Her mind refused to slow down. Thoughts moved in circles, returning again and again to the same source. The human, Daniel. She sat on the edge of her resting platform, hands folded tightly in her lap. The mental stabilizer lay on the table beside her, dark and silent. She had not put it back on, not because she forgot, because part of her did not want to. "That is dangerous," she told herself quietly. She reached for the stabilizer, then stopped. Her fingers hovered above it. Slowly, she pulled her hand back. The next session began under stricter rules. Observer Kale watched from the control room. Additional sensors filled the chamber. Lurie's stabilizer was active again, its soft hum steady in her mind. Daniel entered the room and paused when he saw her. "You look tired," he said. "I am not," Lurie replied too quickly. He nodded, accepting the answer without pushing. That should have relieved her. Instead, it left an empty feeling she could not explain. They sat across from each other, the table between them smooth and white. A safe distance. A controlled space. "Today's session will focus on human decision-making," Lurie said. Her voice was calm, professional. "Answer clearly and without unnecessary detail." Daniel smiled slightly. "I'll try." She ignored the reaction her chest gave at that simple expression. "Humans often act against logical outcomes," she continued. "Why?" Daniel leaned back thinking. "Because logic isn't the only thing we use." "Emotion clouds judgment," Lurie said. "Sometimes," he agreed. "Sometimes it clears it." "That is a contradiction." "Yeah," he said. "We're good at those." Her stabilizer pulsed again. As the hours passed, Lurie noticed small changes. Daniel never raised his voice, never tried to impress. He listened when she spoke, truly listened, as if her words mattered. No one outside her species had ever done that before. "You consider my questions carefully," she said at one point. "They're good questions," Daniel replied. "You're trying to understand, not control." Her breath caught. Understanding. That word again. She ended the session early. In the control room, Kale turned toward her. "Your readings are unstable," he said. "You should be removed from this assignment." No, Lurie replied. Kale studied her. This is not a request. It should be, she said. Humans are not behaving as predicted. We need more data. Kale's eyes narrowed. Or you are compromised. Lurie met his gaze. If I am, then so is our model. Silence filled the room. Finally, Kale spoke. One more session, then we reassign. Lurie inclined her head. Understood. But inside, something twisted painfully. That night, Lurie walked the outer corridor of Astronode. Through the transparent wall, stars stretched endlessly into darkness. Her people saw the universe as a system, balanced, predictable. Humans saw it as a story. She did not know which frightened her more. As she walked, she passed a small observation deck. Daniel stood there, hands resting on the glass, staring out at the stars. He turned when he heard her footsteps. "Oh," he said. "Hi. You are not scheduled to be here," Lurie said. "Yeah, I needed space," he replied. "Guess that sounds funny." "It does not," she said. They stood in silence. Then, without planning to, Lurie asked, "What do you see when you look out there?" Daniel thought for a moment. "Possibility." Her stabilizer flared. "Explain," she said. "Well," he began slowly, "every star could have life, stories, people who haven't met yet. It makes me feel small, but in a good way." Lurie tried to process that. Feeling small was considered negative in Kyrathi culture, yet Daniel spoke of it with warmth. "You do not fear insignificance?" she asked. He shook his head. "No, it means I'm part of something bigger." Something inside Lurie cracked. The next session was different, not because of the rules, because of her. She noticed the way Daniel's eyes softened when he spoke about Earth, how his hands moved when he explained ideas, how his voice changed when he talked about loss. "Loss. You have experienced it?" she asked quietly. Daniel nodded. "Everyone has. How do you function afterward?" He looked surprised. "You just keep going, carry it with you." "That sounds inefficient." "Maybe," he said, "but it reminds us why things matter." Matter, meaning, hope. Her stabilizer shut itself off. Lurie gasped, gripping the edge of the table. Daniel stood instantly. "Hey, are you okay?" "Do not approach," she said, but her voice shook. He stopped immediately, concern clear on his face. "I'm here," he said softly. "I won't move." That was when she realized the truth. He was not influencing her. He was responding to her. Later, alone again, Lurie reviewed the data. No spikes from Daniel, no emissions, no signals. All changes originated within her own neural patterns. She closed her eyes. "This is not resistance," she whispered. "This is choice." The realization terrified her and thrilled her. Kale confronted her the following cycle. "The Council is uneasy," he said. "Human exposure is increasing deviations across multiple species." "They are not deviations," Lurie said. "They are responses." "To what?" she hesitated. "To being seen," she finally said. Kale stared at her. "That is not a scientific term." "It should be," she replied. He turned away. "You are too close to this." "Yes," she said. "That is the point." In the final session before reassignment, Lurie did something forbidden. She removed her stabilizer. Daniel noticed immediately. "You don't have your thing," he said. "I wish to understand something," she said. "Without filters," he swallowed. "Are you sure?" "No," she replied, "but I am willing." They sat in silence. The air felt heavier, realer. "Daniel," she said, her voice quiet, "when humans connect with others, is it always like this?" He considered her carefully. "Sometimes, not always, it depends on trust. And if trust leads to change, then you decide if the change is worth it." Lurie closed her eyes. For the first time in her life, the future felt open, uncontrolled, alive. She opened her eyes and met his gaze. "I do not think I can resist this," she said softly. Daniel did not smile. He nodded, respectful and calm. "Then don't resist," he said. "Just choose." And in that moment, Lurie understood the true danger of humanity. Not force, not weapons, but the simple, unstoppable power of choice. The summons came without warning. Lurie was reviewing her notes when the wall display flashed red. A priority signal, coalition authority. Her chest tightened. She already knew what it meant. Analyst Lurie, the message read. You are ordered to appear before the Oversight Council immediately. She stood still for a long moment, staring at the words. Then she turned off the display and took a slow breath. This was inevitable. The council chamber was vast and cold. Layers of seats rose in wide circles, filled with representatives from dozens of species. Lights hovered in the air, adjusting to each form. At the center stood a single platform. Lurie stepped onto it alone. State your designation, a voice echoed. Lurie of the Kyrathi, she replied, cultural analyst. You have been exposed to a class-passive cognito hazard beyond approved limits, another voice said. Do you deny this? I do not, Lurie answered. Murmurs spread across the chamber. Your neural patterns show instability, said the first voice. Explain. Lurie lifted her head. The instability does not come from the human, it comes from us. Silence fell. That is an unacceptable answer, the voice replied. It is the only honest one, she said. The council displayed images above her. Graphs, data streams, emotional deviation charts. Since human contact began, the voice continued, multiple species show increased emotional variance, questioning of authority, cultural drift. These are signs of contamination, another voice said. No, Lurie said firmly. They are signs of awakening. A sharp sound echoed through the chamber. Awakening leads to disorder, a counselor snapped. Disorder to you, Lurie replied. Growth to humans. The room erupted in noise. Observer Kale stood near the edge of the chamber, watching silently. He had warned her. Now she was standing alone. Explain humanity's effect, the council demanded, in precise terms. Lurie closed her eyes. She thought of Daniel, of his calm voice, of the way he listened. They do not impose change, she said slowly. They allow it. Humans evolved with constant emotional pressure, fear, loss, hope. They did not remove these forces. They learned to live with them. And this makes them dangerous, a counselor said. It makes them resilient, Lurie replied. They do not break when confronted with complexity. They adapt. The council fell silent again. Meanwhile, on Astronode, Daniel sat in his quarters, unaware of the debate shaping his future. He stared at the ceiling, hands folded behind his head. He missed Earth, not the places, the people. He wondered how Lurie was doing. The thought surprised him. Back in the chamber, the verdict came quickly. The human presence is destabilizing, the council declared. We will isolate their delegation. All further contact is suspended. Lurie's heart pounded. Isolation will not stop this, she said urgently. The change has already begun. Then we will contain it, the council replied. Humanity will be restricted, monitored, controlled. Something inside Lurie snapped. No, she said. The word echoed louder than she expected. The council turned toward her. You overstep, the voice warned. I stand as evidence, Lurie said. You fear humans because they remind us of what we gave up. And what is that? A counselor asked. She swallowed. Choice. The chamber erupted. Security fields flickered to life. Remove the analyst, the council ordered. Kale moved forward, conflicted. Lurie turned toward him. You feel it too, she said quietly. You just hide it better. His eyes widened. For a moment he did not move. Then he stopped the guards with a raised hand. Wait, Kale said. If humans are so dangerous, why does their influence not spread without consent? The council hesitated. Lurie seized the moment. Because it cannot, she said. Humans do not take control, they offer connection. The rest is our decision. Silence again. This time it was heavy. The council withdrew for deliberation. Lurie stood alone, shaking. She had gone too far, but she did not regret it. Hours later, the decision returned. Analyst Lurie, the council announced, you will undergo evaluation. Until then, you are removed from your post. And the human, she asked, his fate will be decided separately. Her chest tightened painfully. When Lurie returned to Astronode, Daniel was waiting. You okay? He asked. She looked at him, really looked. No, she said honestly. He nodded. Do you want to talk? She hesitated, then sat across from him. They fear you, she said. People usually do, he replied softly. Not like this, she said. They fear what you allow others to become. Daniel leaned forward. I never wanted to hurt anyone. I know, she said. That is why you are dangerous. He smiled sadly. Figures. Lurie took a slow breath. There may come a time, she said carefully, when I must choose between my people and what I know is right. Daniel met her gaze. What will you choose? She closed her eyes, then opened them. I do not know, she said, but I am learning how to choose. That night Lurie removed her stabilizer for the last time. She felt fear, hope, determination. She felt alive. For the first time the future was not a calculation, it was a question, and humanity had taught her the most dangerous thing of all. That she was allowed to answer it. The evaluation chamber was smaller than the council hall, but it felt heavier. Lurie stood alone in the center. No stabilizer, no shield, no protection, just herself. Lights scanned her slowly, reading her thoughts, her emotions, her neural patterns. Every deviation was recorded, every change compared to Kyrathi norms. She did not resist, she did not hide. Analysis complete, a neutral voice said. Subject displays permanent cognitive alteration. Lurie lifted her head. Define alteration. Expanded emotional range, increased independent reasoning, reduced authority compliance. A pause. Classification irreversible. Lurie closed her eyes, so this was it. Across the station, Daniel sat in a quiet room under watch. The guards were polite but distant. No chains, no force fields, just separation. He sensed something was wrong. Humans were good at that. The council reconvened one final time. Lurie was brought before them again, but this time she was not alone. Data projections filled the chamber, reports from dozens of systems. Not chaos, change. Art appearing in cultures that never had it, new philosophies forming. Old traditions questioned, not destroyed, but examined. And everywhere one common factor, human contact. The spread continues, the council announced, despite restrictions. Because you cannot contain an idea, Lurie said calmly. You were altered, a counselor accused. Yes, Lurie replied, by choice. That is precisely the threat, another voice said. Your loyalty is compromised. No, Lurie said, it is clarified. Silence followed. Observer Kale stepped forward. I request permission to speak, he said. The council hesitated, then agreed. I have reviewed all data, Kale said. There is no evidence of coercion, no domination, no harm. Emotional instability is harm, a counselor argued. Only to those who fear it, Kale replied. Murmurs spread. Kale continued. We built our civilizations on control. Humans built theirs on endurance. They feel deeply and they survive it. And now others are changing, the council said. Yes, Kale agreed. Because they want to, Lurie spoke again. You asked what humans have done, she said. They reminded us that existence is not meant to be safe. It is meant to be lived. A sharp tone echoed. That philosophy leads to conflict. Only if denied, Lurie answered. Choice cannot be erased without consequence. The council withdrew for the last time. When they returned, the chamber felt different, quieter. Humanity will not be isolated, the council declared, nor will they be unrestricted, Lurie's breath caught. They will be recognized as a catalyst species, the voice continued. Interaction will be voluntary, informed. Protected? An analyst Lurie, Kale asked, a pause. She will serve as the first interspecies liaison. Lurie felt her legs weaken. Not exile, not punishment, responsibility. When Lurie found Daniel, he was still waiting. They made a decision, she said. He stood slowly. Good or bad? Yes, she replied. He smiled. What happens now? She met his eyes. Now, she said, we see what happens when the galaxy chooses. Months passed. Human diplomats traveled openly, not as leaders, not as rulers, as listeners. Some species rejected them. Others welcomed them. No wars followed. No collapse. Instead, something unexpected happened. People talked. They argued. They created. They felt. Lurie changed too. She no longer tried to suppress her emotions. She studied them, learned from them, used them to understand others. She was no longer Kyrathi in the old sense. She was something new, and she was not alone. One day, Lurie and Daniel stood together on the observation deck. The stars looked different now, not calmer, but fuller. "You never told me," Daniel said, "what you felt the first time." She thought for a moment. "Fear," she said, "then curiosity, then something I did not have a word for. And now," she looked out at the endless light. "Gratitude," she said. Daniel nodded. "We feel that a lot." She turned to him. "Human," she said softly. "What have you done to me?" He smiled gently. "Nothing," he said. "You did it yourself." Lurie smiled too, and across the galaxy humanity left behind its greatest legacy. Not power, not conquest, but the courage to choose.